Welcome to the webinar on the LR Health Mission. My name is Dr. Sven Werchan, and I'm happy to be part of this mission in preparation and also in this rollout. The world needs a new mission, a new health mission, and so I'm going to speak to you in this webinar on 3 different levels. I speak to you personally because health is a personal issue for everybody. So health is important, health is valuable and precious, so you can benefit on a personal level. I also speak to you as a business person because LR creates this wonderful opportunity to make money, to make business with health opportunities, with health product. And I speak to you as a social being because as social beings, we just help other people to develop, to heal in every regard, and going out, spreading the word of the LR Health Mission, helping people to see or to take responsibility for their own health, for their own lives, for their own business, is doing something good for people. So if you listen with your heart, we're going to make a dive into the health mission, into the product, into a deeper understanding what is this all about. And the first thing, and I speak as a doctor here, I really believe that health is the mission of the future. When we look at the world, it seems to go crazy outside. All the crises add up to a meta crisis, and we really need a new era of thinking, a new era of approaching health on a personal level, also on a planetary level. And this mission can be part of it. So we start, as usual, to see the connection between our lifestyle, the choices we make in our lifestyle, and the burden that can put on our body. And if we understand this connection, we can start making the change instead of becoming ill and bringing our illness to the doctor to manage the illness only. So we start here, as we usually start to see that we have created a world with many comfort, with many good things, but also we changed the environment. Not only for the good, actually. We have a lot of challenges coming out of the modern way of living. And that includes, of course, our nutrition, our diet, the environmental pollution, the lack of movement, chronic stress, all these factors. We have spoken about this in former webinars already. And everybody has to deal with nutrition, with movement, with chronic stress, with time pressure and all of this. And if you don't do it, you put stress and burden and strain on your regulatory systems, on your balance in the energy system. And if you don't take care, obesity is one of the results. If you don't take care about your acid-base system, you will end up in hyperacidity and so forth and so on. So we have different systems that are basic for our health, like the antioxidative system or the anti-inflammatory system. These are all balanced systems. And either a decision puts more weight on one side or the other side. So to be dysregulated over a short period of time is not a problem. We can deal with that. Our body can deal with that. But if you are dysregulated over a long term, over months and years, that will lead not just to changes in regulatory system, but to changes in the functional order of the system. And it leads to functional disorders. For instance, of our intestine, of our immune system, also of our ability to detox the body and to deliver all the nutrients to the cell, and therefore our metabolism will suffer. And finally, that leads to many diseases. Not all diseases are due to that mechanism or due to that lifestyle, but we say 60 to 80% of all the burden of disease we have and of all the money we spend in treating these diseases are coming out of lifestyle decisions, and we talk about lifestyle related diseases. And even if medication is helpful to decrease symptoms of these diseases, and that's also necessary, they rarely help to heal these diseases, but that requires something else. And this is where the health mission and the supporting of health come into play. The health mission, or the metabolic cure as we call it, is not a treatment of a specific disease. It is a support of the body, and it's a simultaneous support of the supply of nutrients, of our intestines, of our liver, and finally of our cells. In more concrete terms, it means have a stable supply of nutrients, especially micronutrients, what you really need. Get the borders of your intestines safe and help the intestine to fulfill their functions. Support the liver as one of the most fundamental metabolic organs, and finally help all the cells to get what they really need to function well and to support health. And this is very important, that you understand that doing something like this is not against a disease. It is not a specific measurement. What usually in medicine you do, you have specific medication against high blood pressure, against high blood sugar, or so forth and so on. But here we do something for the body to strengthen the body in its basic functions and therefore in its metabolism. So we support the ability, the body, to regulate the acid-base balance, to regulate the intestinal flora, to regulate the liver function, the inflammatory system, and many others. And we do this simultaneously with mild but constant impulses into the system. And that has consequences, because a restored regulation creates maybe the precondition or improves the condition for regeneration. And that equals safe healing. Because if you're not regulated, it is hard to regenerate. If your tissue is hyperacid, then it is hard for the tissue to regenerate. Even degeneration can happen then. And now, with this story and with this understanding, the question for whom it is suitable, it's very easy. It's for everyone. Not every medication is suitable for every disease, because here we have a specific connection. Yeah? And most of the medications are just for one specific disease. But supporting the body, supporting all the systems, is everybody deserves it, and every sick person even more so. So you don't have to think about, would this product fit to this disease? Would it make the difference here? No, we support the body, and this is a different kind of approach, a different kind of understanding. That would not necessarily replace medication that has to deal with maybe dangerous symptoms like high blood pressure or high blood sugar. But over time, over the long run, many people can benefit, and sometimes, and it happens a lot, Yeah, and sometimes even symptoms can decrease and people benefit in every different regard. So the idea here is support of the body, support of regulation, support of regeneration is good for everybody. Everybody deserves restored self-regulation. Everybody deserves successful regeneration, and everybody deserves self-healing. Yeah, and this is even more so for people who are already sick. This is, in my terms, the inspirational part. This is the understanding. These are the principles. There are many ideas behind that, but now we want to look more specific. What are the three pillars of our health? First of all, it's important to understand that metabolism is the basis of life in general. All the plants, all the animals, and of course we have metabolism. That is even a sign of life. And the three major pillars of our metabolism is, of course, our intestinal system, because it is responsible for the absorption of all the nutrients that we finally give to our metabolism. Then it goes to the liver, and the liver is the all-round talent that is not as seen as this because it is under the rib bow and we don't see it and usually we don't feel it, but it is the most important control organ of our metabolism. And finally, the work is done in every organ, in every regard by all the cells. They are the basis for life, and we have to deliver all the nutrients well sorted and well balanced finally to the cells. So we start with the intestine. We start with the intestine that are not only responsible for supply, but also for the disposal, of course. And you're gonna take a look at this also. As you know, the intestine, they stand for supply, they stand for digestion, for absorption, but also for removal. Yeah. And because of this function, it is very important then that the intestine work. And for this work, they have a huge surface, 200 square meters for the absorption. But 200 square meters also means 200 square meters as a surface to the outside. So the intestine wall will come into contact with all the stuff you eat, with all the stuff you drink. And that's why this border must be protected. So it is an immune organ. Our intestine is the biggest immune organ of our body. And because it's so important, we call it even the second brain. Many, many, many billions of nerve cells are in the gut wall, and they really measure what's going on there. And there's even more going on, what I'm going to share now. First of all, it is to understand and to see and to have mercy and to have respect what our body is doing here on this 200 square meters. Usually, we take care a lot of our skin, and the skin is only 2 square meters, so we have 100 times a bigger surface here. So, and the job of this surface cannot be done alone. As usual in nature, nature is a big composition, it's a big symphony of collaboration. And the collaboration here is between our body and bacteria. And because they are for us and for life, we call them probiotic bacteria. And they really help in every regard. They are involved in digestion and in metabolism. They really can digest stuff that we cannot. So they help us in the supply of nutrients. They are a very essential, even partner for our immune system. They train our immune cells. And they produce substances that would influence not just the situation and the homeostasis in the gut, but also our brain, our alertness, our mental health. That's really some new stuff. So, and as in every good story, you don't have just good guys, you have only bad guys, and we call them pathogenetic agents. These are all bacteria, fungi, viruses that can be dangerous for us. Yeah, usually, and in a healthy system, they live in balance with the probiotic bacteria. But due to our lifestyle, this balance can change into a disbalance. And this disbalance we call dysbiosis. And that can be a result of a nutrition that is low on fiber. It can be a result of antibiotic, of environmental pollution, of all the stuff we take in. And we have many people with dysbiosis already. And dysbiosis can lead to diarrhea, to irritable bowel syndrome, to inflammation. The dysbiosis can change the permeability of the gut wall, and then we talk about the leaky gut, then more toxins from the gut go to the liver. Yeah, there's a burden for the liver, and the overall danger, and this is what we have, and that what is a driver for many civilization and disease is silent inflammation, that we activate the inflammation system because this border doesn't work properly anymore, and we have a higher influx of all kinds of stuff that's in our intestinal system and then does not belong to the body. That's really important to see. That is not a new information, so we created Pro12 as a support for this balance and for this border. And we changed and we improved, better to say we improved this product by adding stuff, by changing and elevating the delivery. So we want to take a closer look about Pro12 Plus, or what we also call triple biotic, or the next or third generation of bacterial products. First of all, we took the good basis of the ingredients that we already had in Pro12. That means prebiotic. Prebiotic is just food for probiotic bacteria. We call it fiber. That's the headline for that. And we find it in plants. So a plant-based diet or eating more plants is always a good idea. Because many people don't do it or don't do it enough, we added prebiotic substances as the basis for the bacteria. Then, of course, we have the 12 different bacteria strains that we had in the product before. The number is still 1 billion. And to bring them really safe to the place where they belong, in the lower part of our intestine, we improved the double encapsulation. And you can see here, without double encapsulation, after 2 hours in the stomach, in the very acid environment of the stomach, most of the bacteria are dead. And that's even the reason why we have this high acidity in our gastric juice. It's because of saving us from dangerous bacteria. And of course, this acid kills all the good bacteria too. And that's why it's important to have this safety through the double encapsulation. And as you see here, and these are pictures from the producer of the product, that bacteria are still alive after a longer period in the acid of the stomach. And then the encapsulation is resolved and the bacteria can settle and live and thrive in the lower part of our intestine. And then we added something. We followed the new research, the science, because what science found out, that bacteria are not just good as supportive for the surface and with all I mentioned already, but they produce substances. So some of these substances are good for our health too, not just the fact that they help the metabolism. And these substances are called postbiotica. And so we added one specific postbiotic product that is called Pro12. And Pro12 acts as an eliminator. It binds to pathogens and to toxic substances, as you can see here. So it supports detoxification in the body. And therefore it supports the immune system, because what's eliminated, the immune system has not to deal with. It can relax, and so we have a decrease in inflammation, and the immune system is more relaxed, so to speak. So let's put it all together. We have a next generation of bacterial products, Pro12 Plus or triple biotic, the combination of prebiotic, probiotic bacteria and postbiotic, with the patented Pro12 ingredient that helps detoxification and to have even a more effect and more benefit from 1 billion bacteria. They are double encapsulated to help and protect them and help to reach their destination. So if nutrients, and we talk about metabolism, remember, if nutrients pass the gut wall, all the nutrients, all the blood from the entire intestinal system goes to the next thing, the liver. But before, we have another product. I don't want to talk about it a lot because you know it. Colostrum. Colostrum is in lower doses, especially good for the intestinal system because of the growth factors, because of the support of the microbiome, means the bacteria, the probiotic bacteria. And in higher doses, as you know, you support your immune system if you have an acute infection. And this combination we already call the intestinal cure. But then we come back now to where the blood will flow and take all the nutrients, and that is the liver. The liver is the natural next organ on the way from the outside to the intestine, finally to the cells. And I'm very happy that we now include the liver in our health program, because the liver is really, really important. Because when you eat, you have a lot of nutrients in the body, of course, and when you don't eat or during the night, the cells still need nutrients to work properly, and that is the job of the liver. The liver takes the nutrients, it sorts, it converts, it stores the nutrients to have an ongoing and maintenance in your internal environment. Homeostasis, we call it in medicine. So then you have an ongoing stable supply of the cells further down the line. And then, of course, it is not just for the supply, it's also for the detoxification. For all the detoxification or toxins that come through the intestinal wall, and all the detox that come back from the cells, from the metabolism. As of course, when you burn something, they are ashes. We have ashes in our metabolism that they have to be detoxified and excreted, and that the first step here happens in the liver. And then, of course, the liver produces hundreds of hormones and substances that work in the body and keep the protein level in the blood and blah, blah, blah. There are many, many things. So we have it as the metabolic organ, and we have 500 different metabolic functions, usually during daytime, and you have the detoxification functions. Yeah, and this all works simultaneously. And because it's so important, every 3 to 5 minutes, all your blood, every single red blood cell will flow through the liver. Yeah, that means 90 liters in 1 hour. That's really a lot. Yeah. Then the liver, and that is where our product comes into play. The liver in itself has a high capacity for regeneration. Yeah, it will regenerate completely within a year, several times even. And to support this, we created a product. Yeah, we created liver support, but because the liver, of course, with all the environmental stuff, with the toxins from the environment, with the toxins in our food, meanwhile, the liver, and I don't even talk about alcohol and this stuff. I mean, this is still in our culture, of course. So the liver has only two hands, and the liver really needs support, because diseases like the non-fatty liver, the fatty liver that's not based on alcohol, yeah, the non-alcohol fatty liver, that's the right name. 30% of the adult population in the developed country, yeah, suffer from this. We call it a functional disease. So far, we don't even know how to treat it. There are 1 billion people in the world. So liver needs support, and we created a product for this. And the product works according to the good results we had with other products by the combination of liver-specific plants. So we have herbal ingredients, or we have a blend of different plants, and liver-specific and scientifically proven micronutrients like vitamin B, manganese, and molybdenum. So let's take a look at the plants. Artemisia is the Latin word for a plant that is widespread, that had many names in different countries. We also know it as wormwood. It is named after the Greek goddess of hunting and the moon. And in the Middle Ages, it was considered the mother of all herbs because of its broad application for digestion, for the liver, even for gynecologistic issues. And so it stimulates, for instance, the production of digestive juices. It is helpful if you have problems there to support digestion, but it also supports the detoxification part. And especially in the detoxification in the body, we have follow-up products that are very dangerous for the liver itself. So the liver in its detoxification function need support and protection. And therefore, all these plants are good for the liver. They have a high impact on the antioxidative system. So they have naturally working antioxidants like polyphenols, flavonoids, and they protect the liver cells from oxidative stress as a result of the detoxification process. Yeah. Then another plant is milk thistle. Yeah, it stands for liver protection, and the pretty good known silmarine ingredient is mainly responsible for enhancing the regeneration of liver cells. Many other ingredients help or the liver detoxification by increase the activity of enzymes. You know, the work is done by enzymes, and milk thistle activates these enzymes. It's like pushing somebody to do more work, and so the liver can work more effectively. And then, of course, what all these plants have, they support and protect the liver from oxidative stress as a result of the detoxification process. And the last plant here is chlorella. Many people know this. It's an algae. It's full and packed with micronutrients and other nutrients. So they deliver a lot of these antioxidative properties, again, with vitamin C and E and carotenoids. And again, it's the mixture. Yeah, it's the synergy between all these ingredients, between the different plants in combination with the specific micronutrients like vitamin B, choline, that help the liver in its function, in its detoxification, in its support for the production even of very valuable antioxidants like glutathione and others. So, of course, there's always much more to say. I think keep your liver fit. That's important, because the liver, we cannot replace the liver so far. If the liver is gone or broken or totally damaged, you'll probably die if you not find an organ for transplantation. We cannot replace all these functions. They're really delicate symptoms, and it deserves our respect. It deserves our support, and liver support is doing exactly that. And then after the liver, the bloodstream goes to the cells. And of course, cells are the foundation of life. They are the basis. Everything is happening in cells, is delivered through cells, is done by cells. All the energy is produced there, of course. Everything that we produce, every hormone, every substance, every juice, all the things are produced in cells, of course. They protect us, our immune system, yeah? Different cells, many different cells, yeah? They protect us, and then, of course, all the disposal, they clean, they eliminate, they detoxify. Cells are the basis of life. And cells, and we have billion and billion and billion of different cells in the body, but they don't hang in the air. They are in a substance. They are all together with all the blood vessels in a substance that call the basic substance. And that's the reason that all the nutrients, all the oxygen has a way to go from the blood vessel, from the capillary to the cell. And this basic substance is a very interesting realm in which the body works a little bit different than in the cell. The point is, in the blood and in the cells, we have really to keep the inner homeostasis and the inner milieu constant. In the basic substance, we can a little bit, work on a different level here. And the result, or the reason for that, is if you have changes, for instance, in the pH value in the body, you cannot allow to have these changes in the blood vessel or in the cell, but you can have a slight change in the basic substance. And if you have slack, we call it in medicine, slack, and change proteins, you can put it in the basic substance, like having a cellar or the attic, and you can put stuff there, and it's not there anymore. But it's not true. Through these changes in the basic substance, the supply of nutrients and oxygens and the disposal of waste products and carbon dioxide can decrease a little bit. And so the cell metabolism is not at its best. And that is only one effect, but one simple story that we use to make clear how valuable these two products are. Because Aloe and ProBalance work perfectly together to clean the substance and finally to support the metabolism in the cells. Yeah, so they clean the way, and cells and body can flourish, getting the nutrients and oxygen best to the cells and getting waste products and carbon dioxide out of the cells, back into the capillaries, back to the liver, and then out the body, through the intestine, through the kidney, through the lungs. And of course, there's much more that aloe is doing in the body. Its anti-inflammatory aspects, its regeneration, immune modulation aspects are well known, and we have more than 4,000 studies showing the different applications of aloe vera. Is one of the oldest healing plants in the world. And so we could talk for hours about aloe vera. Here in the Meta Cure, it is especially the cleansing of the basic substance that will help the cell metabolism. And then, of course, that's supported through base minerals. Because of an unbalanced diet, stress, and lack of exercise, we have, and this is true for many, many people, maybe for most people, because of our heritage, we would have a balance if we have 80% of our nutrition would be more on the base side and only 20%, but actually for many people it's the other way around. So we have an imbalanced system here, and basic substances and that are delivered by ProBalance, can help to neutralize the surplus of acidity and can reduce the hyperacidity in the basic substance in the body. And this has many results. One, as we shared, is to make the way, to give the way free and to clean the way for all the nutrients. And of course, then we use the minerals as like magnesium, potassium, calcium, and also the trace elements. Of course, there's always much more we could say. When we put it all together, we take a short look on how to take. First of all, it's best to take it all together. The more impulses you give to the system, the more you support the regulation, the more you enhance self-healing through regeneration. And if you do so, you take colostrum in the morning and you take aloe vera and ProBalance with your meal. I mean, he is saying after the meal or before the meal, but if you take it with the meal, you take it noon or for lunch, and in the evening you take aloe ProBalance with your meal, and you take Pro12 Plus and Liver Support before you go to bed, because the detoxification function of the liver, they work in the night. Many of the metabolic function work in the day. And please support this by giving it time. Be patient, giving it time, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. Supported by a good nutrition, going out, see the sun, see nature. And if you want to read, or this is a lot more to say or a lot more to remember, and therefore I wrote a book. I wrote a book for all your partners. You have heard this already. It is about the health mission. It's about the content of all the products. It is well-founded, easy to understand information, background information, of course, even going deeper as we could share here. You have assistance for successful communication. You see, to be a doctor, you have to learn a lot, learn about the specific functions and the specific connections. To be a good advisor for health and a good our partner are doing this, you need to have a good communication to help people to see this. So this book is about that too, and it gives you a good reason to do such a cure, to do Meta. It's inspiring, it is simple and fun to read. So thank you very much for listening. I really wish you personal good luck, good health, and many success in the world with your health mission. It's really important. We can do something good, not just for ourselves, but also for other people and for the world. Thank you very much for listening, and see you next time. Bye.